It's been a tough couple of years for the airline industry. Before the global pandemic, British Airways was operating one of the largest and most modern fleets of aircraft in the world.
Systems-wise, they're extremely complicated. They're probably the pinnacle of human engineering as it is at the moment.
Now the landscape for airline companies is very different.
It's a tough world now in aviation, so we need to move on.
The competition to attract passengers has never been harder.
Going to know Rita? Ah, OK.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. It's a pleasure.
And the pressure is on.
You all right, Joe? Yeah. You're not going to get flustered now, are you?
Pre-COVID, our cameras were given exclusive access to every level of this multi-billion-pound business as it enters its second century. From the men and women who maintain the planes,
We're working at height, quite figly, you've got to be careful, especially working up there.
to the people who buy them,
Just going to go on, do a general inspection now.
from those who fly the fleet,
Traffic.
to the people there to please the passengers.
Fantastic, isn't it?
In this episode, engineers race against the clock to completely refurbish an aircraft interior.
Yeah, we've put a good team together, so it's going to be exciting to see us work through the programme. It's very complex, some new procedures, new processes. It's going to be good.
In 2019, BA began to update its fleet. But will the first of their brand new aircraft be up to scratch?
This is what the quality of the product should be for BA. If it falls below that, then we will reject and expect either rework or replacement to fix that issue and bring it up to the quality that we expect.
And burning the midnight oil to try to get aircraft ready for the morning service.
If there is a failed test, we are then looking at, we could be put under real pressure then, because then there's the chance that we may not deliver for the morning flights. So we really need this test to come good.
By 2020, BA was maintaining a fleet of 250 aircraft. But when a 150-ton aeroplane needs a major overhaul or simply a service, where does it go? The answer is here, the British Airways Maintenance Centre, or BAMC.
This is British Airways Maintenance Cardiff. We are a heavy maintenance facility. That means we carry out the real major checks for British Airways. So if you liken it to your car, we basically carry out the major service on the aircraft that British Airways flies.
Every aircraft over 3 years old is sent here periodically for all kinds of maintenance. This 455,000 square foot facility can accommodate 5 aircraft inside and dock 2 more at either end of the building. And when aircraft like these are in for servicing, it takes a little longer than your average MOT.
So in any given year, we will have probably we can clear about 700,000 man hours. If we're a really busy year, we can be clearing 800,000 man hours.
BAMC has different types of checks, labelled from A to D, depending on what kind of maintenance the aircraft needs.
A 6-day check will be a C check, whereas on our 747s we can have the aircraft here for 55 days. So we carry out the really in-depth maintenance. On a D check, which is one of our larger checks, our guys who are massively experienced will carry out over 20,000 tasks. So in any given year, we will carry out over 1 million tasks on our aircraft.
BAMC employs hundreds of full-time staff and is one of the major employers in the area.
It is almost like a family unit. A lot of these people have worked together for a long time. There's a lot of trust in each other because the type of jobs that we do, particularly the larger tasks, you need trust in your team. You need to know that your team are capable, they're trained, they're going to act safely, and that they're not going to compromise you, your safety or the aircraft safety.
With state-of-the-art technology and systems, BAMC is prepared for all kinds of maintenance.
There isn't anything that we can't do here, in all honesty. When we have a D check-in, we will literally strip all the aircraft apart. So the whole cabin gets removed. Literally every component gets inspected on here. We can take panels off, we'll send them away for painting. We can fabricate metal that goes back onto the aircraft. Engines will get removed. We will drop the gears down. Literally, we inspect every element of that aircraft because ultimately Once we're declaring that aircraft serviceable, that's going on a revenue flight back to British Airways, and we want to make sure that when people are purchasing a ticket for BA, they're doing so in the knowledge that this is one of the safest airlines in the world, and we're really proud that we're part of that.
Today, the team are facing a brand new challenge. They're waiting for a 777 aircraft which needs a full internal refurbishment, the first time the engineers here will have done such a job. And they have just 30 days to do it.
We've put a good team together, so it's going to be exciting to see us work through the programme. It's very complex, some new procedures, new processes. It's going to be good. Okay, there she comes. All the seats are coming off the aircraft. We're taking toilet modules out, we're taking galleys out, we're changing cabin lighting, we're changing the oxygen system, we're putting on new management systems on the aircraft, lots of wiring, new carpets, all the interior is changing. The look, as you walk in the cabin, it's going to look like a brand new aircraft. So all of the furnishings, what the passenger sees.
A 777 has 4 cabin entrances on each side. So to ease movement for the team, the aircraft is being taken to one of the exterior docks on the side of the building.
First steps now we're going to do is the safety of the aircraft, making sure all the systems are safe for us to be able to work them. We're going to do some ground testing on the aircraft to make sure that the systems that are in place at the moment work correctly, and then we'll start the strip. So today we're going to be taking all the seat covers off, stripping the seats out, taking ceilings panels down, sidewalls. It's going to be a busy day.
Coming up, the overnight engineering team have a job on their hands.
Tonight's, numbers-wise, it's pretty typical. We've got 7 aircraft. This is one of those environments where it's a very fluid plan, so we could find something halfway through the night that we've got a challenge to kind of get round.
And as the first of a brand new batch of aircraft is prepared for delivery, BA's experts find some issues.
So that's not what we agreed. What we agreed is that nylon stoppers are going to be installed here.
BA has 140 short-haul aircraft, 126 of which are based at Heathrow. Defined as flights of 5 hours or less, many short-haul aircraft make 3 or 4 flights a day, so sticking to a schedule is vital. The airline has a team of highly skilled engineers based here who work through the night, every night, to make sure the short-haul aircraft are available each morning. This is the Fleet Support Unit. Their work begins when the list of jobs come in for each aircraft, and tonight is going to be a particularly busy one.
All right, guys. Should we do the handover?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, uniform golf. Was the air leak? Questions on that one?
No, that's great.
All good, guys. Thank you very much. Lovely. Okay.
Thanks, Mick.
Yeah,
Tonight's, numbers-wise, it's got 7 aircraft. This is one of those environments where it's a very fluid plan, so we could find something halfway through the night that we've got a challenge to kind of get round, and it's really where the expertise of our engineers here really come into their own and really try and find solutions to make sure we make that first wave tomorrow. Lovely. All right, let's get to it.
At the hangar, a new Airbus with the latest jet technology has arrived with a problem.
We're just about to bring in our first aircraft of the evening. It's actually one of our new Neo aircraft, and it's got an issue with the bleed air system on one of the engine, which is actually, it's a compressed air that's used to power the pneumatic systems on the aircraft. So our LAE Ian's going to bring it in now, and then he's going to start investigating our defect and hopefully get a resolution. I have to admit, I give all credit to our maintenance operative Dave for towing the aircraft. It's one job I really wouldn't want to do. I'm no good at towing trailers, so I would get it all wrong.
I'm a licensed aircraft engineer on this, so it's my duty to make sure the aircraft's safe to fly in the morning. I'll oversee all the work done and sign for it in the log to make sure it's correct. So the first thing we'll do is we'll do a daily, which is a basic check of the aircraft that gets done every single day on the aircraft, which includes walking around, checking there's no damage or anything unreported to the aircraft.
So while Ian opens up the engine and starts looking for the cause of the air leak, technician Phil can get on with his general inspection.
Just starting the walk round, it's just a general visual inspection. As you walk around the aeroplane, you're looking for basically anything that you can see that could be loose or any damage, any evidence of lightning strike damage or bird strike damage. quite often we get damage around the doors from where the stairs are put up to the doors, so checking that.
It's not long before he spots an issue.
Check the tyres for wear. This tyre's almost bald across here, so we'll be replacing that later on tonight.
The British Airways Maintenance Centre next to Cardiff Airport is a state-of-the-art facility where BA maintains and overhauls its UK-based fleet. Right now, the team are starting one of their largest ever jobs, a complete internal overhaul of this 332-seat Boeing 777.
Day one on the aircraft, so we're going to change a bit on this now. To give you a brief overview, all of these seats are being taken off. So by tomorrow morning, they'll all be out from here. We're putting reworked seats into here with a new in-flight entertainment system.
There are around 2,500 tasks to complete on this aircraft. To begin, the coverings of all 332 seats have to be removed. Then, the seats themselves, a fiddly and time-consuming task considering all of them have been firmly bolted to the floor.
Just finished taking off the first set of World Traveller seats. They're away from the aircraft, and now we're going to use the truck now, which will be elevated up to door 4 left. Then the door will be opened up when it's safe, and then we'll bring the next set off. In the next few hours, we'll have all the World Traveller seats off, and then we'll be into our premium economy seats coming off. And then we'll have an empty fuselage at the back, ready to start the mod action.
While the remaining economy seats at the rear are removed, nearer the front of the aircraft, Tim is overseeing the removal of the business class units.
Right. At the moment, they're trying to release one of the feet, because the way the seat bolts into the seat tracks in the floor, it slides into tangs. So at the moment, they've got to try and release that from the tangs before we attach the cradle to try and lift it. We make sure it's free before we try and move it.
But eventually, with some careful manoeuvring and just a little bit of brute force, the seat can be removed.
Okay, so the problem we had is just the angles to be able to get the seat out through the door. The stabilisation foot, which is just used at the back of the seat, just to give extra strength at the back, and that's had to be taken off at the moment for us to get the actual seat out through the door. So that'll be refitted now before the seat goes off for overhaul.
Now the rest of the units can be taken out with the help of a specially designed crane. Just a few miles away, at BA's Interiors Engineering Centre in Blackwood, the aircraft's safety gear is about to undergo crucial checks.
Today we are looking at 777 slides. They initially come off the aircraft every 1 to 3 years. This is a safety element built into the aircraft that nobody gets to see, hopefully. The slide will go through a variety of tests, air retention tests, hose tests, any leak tests. Then it's packed by our team there and then sent out to service then for depending age related of the slide, whether it'll be 3 years or a year.
A 777 is fitted with 8 of these slides, and they can inflate in around 4 seconds. But repacking them isn't so easy. This takes between 12 and 15 hours. All the aircraft safety equipment has to be given a thorough check before it can be sent back to Cardiff. Over at Bamsey, all seats have now been taken out of the aircraft. And there's finally space to remove the large galley sections, at least in theory.
Right, now slowly pull it towards you. Right, stop.
Right, let's get our guys around this side. Right, we're going to lower our side a bit more. Again, you ready to lift?
Yeah.
Right, 3, 2, 1, lift. Down again. So we've seen from that, we can get it out, but we'll have that much gap.
In the factory, the new seats have been prepared. It will take just a few days to fit around 400 of them. In the maintenance department, the new toilets are being tested. While on the aircraft itself, the toilet cubicles are being refurbished.
Well, what I'm fitting here is the new
LED lighting system. This now gives a nice, brighter, fresher look to the toilet. The whole thing is set up on a plate that slides in on 2 hinges, and then you have to bolt it up into the top of the part of the toilet module. And then you've got like a load of drip shields, and obviously keep a lot of the moisture at bay if there is any leaking with any of the water pipes here. These drip shields, they can be a little bit fiddly to fit in, but they do go in pretty well. I'm trying to work out how this bloody slides in there. But the thing is, though, you've got a lot of wire in here as well, so you can't just go shoving it straight in, thinking that it's going to slide in. You've got to work around it, and you'd have to just make sure you don't nick any of the wires while you put it in as well. And this just slides in over 2 clips and over the top, and should just butt in place. And then what we'll do then afterwards, we'll put a bit of bead of sealant around the outside. And that should be good to go.
In the empty cabin, the passenger-facing surfaces can now be recovered.
We're changing the surface finish, the Tedlar surface finish on it. So at the moment we're removing the old glue. The material we're putting on is hundreds and hundreds of pounds a sheet. So we have to make sure it goes on correctly. But the guys are good at what they do, so they'll get it right. Hey, Rich? No.
But as they move towards the deadline, Tim has discovered a problem.
So we needed to do a test on the window heat system. The window is heated to enable it for anti-fogging properties, demisting, and to make sure that it can absorb impact resistance in flight if it was to have a bird strike. So by warming the window up, it makes it more flexible. Unfortunately, that window heat system failed on test, which involved us having to change the window.
A new window will now have to be ordered from off-site. It could take several days and push Tim and his team past the delivery date. Like many big companies, British Airways had humble beginnings. In August 1919, Aircraft Transport and Travel Limited launched the world's first scheduled air service between London and Paris. The single-engine de Havilland DH-4A carried cargo, including food, newspapers and 1 passenger. In 1924, Imperial Airways was formed and began regular flights from Croydon Airport to European destinations, as well as Africa, the Middle East and India. The initial fleet included 3 Handley Page W8Bs, which had seats for 12 passengers. And in 1952, the jet age was launched with the acquisition of the de Havilland Comet, carrying up to 80 passengers. Nowadays, BA operates one of the largest fleets in the world, with 250 aircraft of all shapes and sizes. In 2019, BA began the complex process of updating its fleet. Its first purchase was the Airbus A350, the most advanced passenger aircraft in the world.
The A350 is a state-of-the-art twin-engine wide-body aircraft. It can fly up to 8,500 nautical miles, which is 18 hours flying, and can carry up to 400 people. So the most important thing about the A350 is the passenger experience. So it is an aircraft which will leave you more refreshed at the end of the flight. The cabin altitude is lower than in other aircraft. The air is refreshed more frequently than in other aircraft. It's got a finer degree of temperature control, burns 25% less fuel than the aircraft it replaces, which means 25% lower carbon emissions, and it's about 50% quieter.
This aeroplane began its life here at the Airbus final assembly line in Toulouse.
Currently, around us, there are 7 aircraft in different stages of build. The aircraft, when we've joined all the sections together, occupy an area that's about that of a football pitch. So think of 7 football pitches joined together.
But this facility isn't actually a manufacturing centre. It has one very specific purpose.
The way we build aircraft at Airbus is a kind of sophisticated airfix kit, which is that we assemble modules and different parts of the aircraft in factories all over Europe.
A A specially adapted A300, known as a beluga, is used to bring in the parts from all over the continent. The fuselage is made in France, the horizontal tailplane comes from Spain, and the vertical from Germany. The engines and the wings from the UK. Once the components are delivered, it takes only 4 to 5 months for the aircraft to be assembled. And like any airfix kit, there are instructions to be followed and a proper order in which to do things.
In this facility, the first thing we did was to join different sections of the fuselage together. Then we join on the wings. Then we put the undercarriage on so we can roll it around on its own wheels. Then we start to introduce and to fit the different elements of the cabin.
This A350 will be the first to be acquired by BA.
Been here since, 3 years now, but right from the beginning of the 350 programme. So this aircraft actually started production at section level back in July last year. So it's a long process, and obviously the pinnacle of that is coming here to Toulouse and finishing in the final assembly line.
And at nearly £250 million per aircraft, they have to make sure everything is perfect. So today, Richard and his team will be checking the aircraft over in very fine detail.
We have a team of technical experts and product experts coming to support the cabin final inspection. So this is a key milestone inspection in the overall customer acceptance and delivery process.
The inspection team will delve into every nook and cranny of the new A350. Everything must be spot on. If it isn't, the A350 programme risks being delayed.
This first aircraft for BA is 2 to 3 months away from delivery as we see it today. We've got no tolerance to a delay. It's critically important for us to deliver on time and on quality. For an airline, that 2 to 3 months is well within the time frame where they're already selling tickets.
Coming up, the overnight teams see their carefully laid plans disrupted.
So Steve's just phoned us from Maintrol and said that there's an issue over in the terminals for one of the aircraft that he's dealing with at the moment.
And in Toulouse, BA's design team find issues with their new aircraft.
It's not moving smoothly enough. I don't like the way it's sticking.
At Heathrow Airport, BA's Fleet Support Unit's night shift is hard at work. Technician Phil has spotted the first job of his shift.
It's the whole wheel assembly that we change rather than just the tyre. So we need to remove the whole wheel from the axle.
But how do you jack up 65 tonnes worth of aircraft?
Just a glorified heavy-duty trolley jack, basically, which goes onto the bottom of the undercarriage leg. It's operated with compressed air.
And it's a very slow process.
Just coming off the ground now. So then we loosen the main nut. It's torqued up to, initially it's torqued up to 220 pounds-feet, which is quite a lot. So hence the length of the torque wrench. That's the nut that holds the whole lot on, so quite simple. Then we lift it off using a lifting dolly. Simple as that.
The Fleet Support Unit keep a large stock of parts, including just about every tyre for any short-haul aircraft.
What are you taking up to?
220. Do you want to watch that? Hold it with that. Tell me how tight we are.
100.
So this is the force to do the nut up. So we're actually torquing the nut onto the bearing, which is seating the bearing.
80, 180, 200.
Sorry?
Just shy of 220.
Just shy, so just go a little bit over.
Yep, 220. Over.
One final thing before we drop it back on the ground, check the tyre pressure. So it's 210 psi. So your car's average is probably like 30 psi. That's great.
And with a gentle lowering back down to earth, the job is done.
Dead easy. Probably made it look harder than it really is.
Meanwhile, elsewhere on the aircraft, engineer Ian is investigating the air leak.
This is the pneumatic system for the aircraft. So this is what supplies the air to the cabin so the passengers can breathe and it's pressurised. The fault I think I've had before, I believe to be this pipe here. So we're going to disconnect this pipe and leak check it, check there's no holes in it, which is what it's been in the past. Previously in the past, because of this flexible connection, this tends to be what would leak. Just stick your finger on that. And then the best way to leak test it is just take your mouth around the end. It's there. So as I run my hand down, you can feel the air coming out through the braided cable. There shouldn't be anything leaking out of here, so that will throw the message off to the computer. It'll sense less than it should be. So we'll replace this pipe. Should fix it, hopefully.
In the office, a call from the operations team is about to create problems for Neil's schedule.
Okay, yep, no, that's fine. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Steve's just phoned us from Maintrol and said that there's an issue over in the terminals for one of the aircraft that he's dealing with at the moment. And he's asked if we can get an aircraft up sooner to cover the risk of this problem.
In the hangar, the part Ian needs to fix the pneumatics has arrived from the stores.
So Dom will now refit it in the same position as it was, and then once finished, we'll close the engine back up and we can go test it.
So I'll just slide it in. You got 2 points, which is connected to this one in the top, and one here somewhere at the bottom.
All that remains now is to check and sign off.
Yeah, so once Dom's finished, he's showed me what he's done. I've checked that over, so now I'm just having a quick check around. No tools have been left inside, there's nothing else wrong in the area, so it's just a peace of mind thing before we close the engine. Yeah, that's good to me.
It will undergo an engine test shortly to see if it's ready to fly. The last aircraft on the casualty list is Uniform Oscar Golf.
It's got high oil consumption, so we're trying to find an oil leak with it. We found one earlier, our day shift found an oil leak. We take the spinner off, that was leaking under there, so they've changed the seal in there, that's cured it. As a backup, as a follow-up, we have to do an internal inspection using our boroscope equipment. Boroscope's a fibre optic camera with a lens on the end, so it can go inside the boroscope point in the engine, and we can see inside the engine, see the blades internally in the engine without having to pull it all apart. Through the bleed port, I can get access to the front section of the engine. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of the blade and then see if there's any oil. Right, so this is the LP compressor, the very tip of it, and then we're just seeing to make sure it's clean. As you can see, it's very clear, very clean, and make sure there's no oil deposits on this. And this is a good one. Alex, are you ready to turn?
Yeah.
So just turn very slowly, just for now. Right, there we go, and you can see the LP compressor turning around, and then we just check all the blades, nice and slowly, and we're looking for an oily run on the tips, but this is dry, this is clean, this is good. Yeah, it looks good, Alex, thank you.
So, with the leak repaired, everything is looking good for returning this aircraft to service. But a standard engine test brings bad news.
We've still got a leak, and it's come back in for further investigation.
Okay. So, not quite how we had planned, but we're safety's first. We've got to make sure the aircraft's safe, so, you know, Andy's got to be happy to sign it off, so we've got to do a bit more investigation, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this and we'll get through it.
It's a big disappointment for the team. Meanwhile, the aircraft with the air pressure issue is being prepared for its own engine test, and it's crucial that this one passes.
If there is a failed test, we are then looking at we could be put under real pressure then, because then there's the chance that we may not deliver for the morning flights. So we really need this test to come good.
At the Airbus assembly factory in Toulouse, the team from BA are starting their final inspection of this A350. This is their last chance to check everything is absolutely perfect before it's flown to Heathrow to begin service.
Today we're looking for fit, form and function Airbus have delivered the aircraft and built and installed the equipment to the expectation we have specified to. So that's on quality, that's on product installation. We're looking for things like quality of finish. You know, ultimately it's our brand that's on show, so we've got to ensure that that brand is delivered. The team's going to comprise of 13 in total. It's a mix. We've got some technical experts from engineering, the product and design team, so the guys from corporate, from brand, that have been part of the design and the specification of the seat. So they'll be able to deliver that and inspect and confirm that, you know, what we've got is what we signed up to. We have an agreed quality acceptance criteria. It's agreed between both parties. This is what the quality of the product should be for BA. If it falls below that, then we will reject and expect either rework or replacement to fix that issue and bring it up to the quality that we expect. So I'm just going to look at what they call the non-textile flooring. So it's called NTF and it's in the galleys. And we're going to have a look at that just so that we can protect it. Obviously, we don't want a load of footwear going on it before we've actually delivered the aeroplane. So Andy and I are just going to go on, do a general inspection now, making sure for correct bonding that it's been installed correctly. No issues with it. So we'll do that now in galley 1, 2 and 4 at the back, OK?
But it's not long before Richard spots a problem.
Got some tape there, Matt? Thank you. So it's just for the sealant finish, it's not uniform across the back. So obviously, being a galley area, wet area, you know, it's imperative that, you know, it's doing its function. So sealing the galley area. So they just need to reapply some sealant area there.
Anything not up to scratch will be marked with green tape to be attended to later. In club class, one of the latest innovations is a sliding door for extra privacy and safety.
I'm just checking that the door runs freely on its runners. There's no bumps, there's no shuddering, it's a smooth, free movement, no noises as it does that. And then the other thing I'm checking is for the latching that it goes into its correct takeoff and landing positions. And then I'm just checking the overall function of the seat, so all of the actuation, the movements, the lighting, the call bells, the general trim and finish, make sure that that's all to the spec document and that every element of it works. And then we'll do all 56 of those.
The club class seats have a lot of moving parts, and each and every one on board has to be checked.
Just something I'm not happy with, so we're just going to work on that one now. Yeah, just it's not moving smoothly enough. I don't like the way it's sticking. And here's our man now.
Sorry, this latch isn't working?
It isn't, no, sir, it isn't.
You're ready? I have the door back.
It is, yeah. I've reset it as well. It's back on its runners, so we've done a reset.
Working perfectly this morning because I checked every one. I checked every one.
Yeah, it's my first one of it.
It's always the way. It's okay. We'll have to fix it again.
Yes, please.
In another galley area, the team have discovered a new issue.
No, that's not what we agreed. What we agreed is that nylon stoppers are going to be installed here to avoid flashing the door hinge opening at the left-hand side.
So we have done a first article inspection of all the galley ship sets, and we found non-conformities as per the design and also some design issues. So we agree a solution to avoid getting damage on the door opening of the galley inserts, and that solution hasn't been installed, so we're just checking that we're going to get that delivered with the aircraft, hopefully. So it's a nylon stopper, so basically if you open this here, this door, what you're going to find is a clash off the door with this waste disposal unit. We're not very happy with it, are we? Nice way of starting the FAI.
But things aren't so hectic that Richard can't take a moment to try out the new club class seats.
Yeah, it's a nice design, comfortable, quite spacious. Yeah, quite like it. I think they've done a really good job with the development of it and making it bespoke to be here. Yeah, nice. Get a few hours sleep now.
With a full list of defects that need addressing, Richard will pass these on and return for a final assessment in a few weeks' time.
The proposal is, can we improve the aesthetic look of that design?
At Heathrow, a recently repaired aircraft is about to undergo a full engine test to ensure it's safe to fly. The aircraft is desperately needed back in service, so hopes are high that it passes.
We need to test if the bleed crosses over properly, so we need to take it up to a higher power. So we're taking it up to about 75 to 80% of its maximum power, which on these is around 25,000 pounds per inch. So it's quite high. The aircraft will bounce around a little bit, but we'll have our feet firmly on the brakes. So I'll contact Speedbird, which is our headquarters. There'll be an office with a man on a radio listening. If we have any issues, he will then contact the fire services, emergency services, who will then go rescue. Speedbird control, this is Golf Tango Tango November Delta. Requesting listening watch for a 10-minute high-power engine. Leaders on the arm. Fill. Let's start from 1. Right, starting 1. Load up 2 fill. So that was around takeoff power. If we had no faults, we would have got a message popping up in here. Nothing to worry about, aircraft's fixed. So once this one's finished, we'll give it a little bit of time to cool down, and then we'll head back into the hangar and see if anyone else needs any help with their aircraft.
It's a great result for us. Ian and his team have fixed the defects. The run was all good. It's the perfect result for our customers because we're delivering another serviceable aircraft.
TTND is serviceable ready for the morning.
It's been a great night for the team. Although one aircraft has to be kept in to establish the source of its oil leak, 6 aircraft have been diagnosed, fixed and returned to service.
The Neo was a great result. The team did brilliantly on it. We got a really early find on it. They worked quickly, efficiently and safely, and they got a superb result. And it actually turned out that the operation really needed that aircraft. And so having that early result meant that we could offer it back sooner to make sure that there was no services uncovered this morning. I'm done, but then do it all again tonight.
Coming up, the newest member of BA's fleet comes under scrutiny from the press. And engineers struggle to finish the aircraft refurbishment on time.
We had to get a new replacement windscreen sent down overnight. That arrived first thing this morning, and a couple of guys have been working hard throughout the day to get that windscreen changed.
At the British Airways Maintenance Centre in Cardiff, a team of engineers are working against the clock to overhaul a 777. But at the last stretch, they've discovered a defect with a cockpit window.
If you've got moisture that gets in between the panes on your double glazing in a house, it can produce fogging. Same on this, if you've got moisture that gets between the panes on the window, then you can get fogging of a window. The heating isn't normally turned off, so you don't see it. But we picked it up on this, changed the window. Time to move on to the next job.
The aircraft windows are very specialist items and had to be ordered in.
We had to get a new replacement windscreen sent down. That arrived first thing this morning, and a couple of guys have been working hard throughout the day to get that windscreen changed.
Yep, job done.
Let's go.
Perfect.
With the window replaced, the aircraft renovation is finished, and Tim can inspect his team's handiwork.
As you can see, we've got a new business class with a new in-flight entertainment Panasonic system. New LED lighting in the sidewalls and ceilings, lavatories, galley areas throughout. We've got new furnishings, new carpets, new side trims, new kick strips and bump strips, protection for carts as they come through the cabin delivering food to the passengers. We've got a brand new World Traveller Plus premium economy product with larger IFE screens. Moving back, a complete colour change. We've gone to a much darker finish throughout the cabin, which is then accentuated out by all the mood lighting that we've got throughout the cabin. So the colours can change throughout the cabin depending on the time of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, and how we want to put that.
It took over 30 people, a total of 42 days, to completely renovate the interior of this aircraft. It's a first for BAMSI, its engineers, and a very proud moment for Tim.
I think it looks fantastic. We spoke at the beginning about giving that modern look, making it look like a brand new aircraft. Look at it. It's modern and it looks like a brand new aircraft. The guys are really proud of what we produced. And I know that we're all really proud of them. All departments, everyone that's been involved with this, all shifts. Fantastic job.
The aircraft can now be taken for a full engine test. It will head out on a test flight tomorrow before being returned to service and new passengers. At the Airbus factory in Toulouse, this brand new A350 is ready to enter service. The British Airways livery has been applied in preparation for its first flight. All that's left is for build and delivery manager Richard Mee to check that issues noted in the cabin inspection have been corrected.
So we're 2 months down the line from the cabin final. We're just about to go into the delivery phase, and we're just going to walk through the cabin now and look at some of those features we picked up in that inspection and demonstrate the fixes. Okay, so one of the first ones we found was on the galley ovens. We found it clashing with the door. So they've got some door limiters installed now. This has fixed the issue now, there's no contact there. One of the other items that we found during the cabin final inspection was the sealant finish in the galley area. It's crucial that this is watertight. So they've redone all the sealant in the galley area to ensure that that is the case. We had a slight issue just with the latching on the sliding door, which is a new feature of the seats. And as you can see, that's all been resolved now. Works perfectly. Final check of the Club World kitchen, which is our premium product. And as you can see, all those final touches have now been corrected. Everything's finalised and it's perfect, absolutely spot on. The plane's in perfect condition now and absolutely ready for handover into delivery. So we'll start the delivery phase next and deliver the aeroplane to the airline. I'm absolutely thrilled with how it's gone. I think the support from the team in British Airways has been second to none, and I think everyone's going to enjoy a long life and long service of this aeroplane for British Airways.
So with everything approved and BA's high standards met, the A350 can begin its first journey as the newest member of the fleet. And at Heathrow, journalists and staff have assembled to greet the new arrival.
Today we are so proud and excited to be showcasing the A350-1000 to the rest of the world, and today the press, who I'm sure are going to absolutely love the cabin.
BA's facilities at Heathrow have had to be adapted to accommodate this brand new aircraft. But finally, everything is ready.
You can imagine how much work has gone into preparing the base. The facility here, we've had to get the infrastructure ready for the aircraft. The engineers here that are now A350 licensed, so they can now work on the aircraft and make sure that the aircraft is serviceable. And even having these new markings on the ground are so important. It takes quite a lot of time and effort to do that and planning. It's a very proud moment for me and the rest of the airline.
And on time, the guest of honour makes her entrance.
It's a long time coming. It's been fantastic to actually finally get my hands on the aircraft. I mean, not just myself, but the whole airline has spent an awful lot of time preparing for the arrival of the aircraft. To finally get to the day when we bring it to Heathrow, you know, marks the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another, really, for the airline.
Now the press can get a much anticipated look at the state-of-the-art cabin.
My verdict is this is a success, and I think people like it. It's my favorite plane to fly personally on any airline, and I think this is definitely one of now the best business class seats and experiences you can have.
I think a lot of passengers will step on and think, wow, this is brand new, it's amazing. And yeah, British Airways are going to do really well with it, I think.
Yeah, you can still smell the kind of brand new airplane smell, which is great.
For us nerds, that's amazing, isn't it?
The A350 will begin service in a week's time, carrying passengers to Madrid. She'll begin long-haul services in a few months.
It's been a lot of hard work, and I absolutely love it. For me, it's a very proud moment to be part of a delivery team that had delivered the first A350-1000 for the airline. All of last week I was in Toulouse supporting Richard Mee and the delivery team, and to see the aircraft now finally at its brand new home at Heathrow is just a very proud moment, but also exciting for the airline. And I will never forget this day for the rest of my life.